I'm going to demonstrate a really attractive sailboat here now for you. Start off by putting some ivory pencil, a good strong application of ivory in the sails. Now the idea of this is to obviously create a really nice base for the subsequent colours we're going to be using. Ivory is a wonderful blender, and therefore of course it blends really well into the pastel paper. And so just to make absolutely sure, what I've done is I'm going to use the colour shaper. Now, if you haven't got one of these, don't worry, because the ivory would be okay anyway. It's just by putting the colour shaper on it, you can just push some of that dust that you can see into the paper. It just adds just a little bit more intensity to it. There we are, that's finished. Now I'm going to also use the ochre. Now this is 182 in the Faber range, and because we've got the ivory underneath, it means that this is going to be weakened to quite a large extent. What's important is we still have a nice contrast between this and the background. So there we are, now we can see that. Now I'm just going to add just a little bit of white pencil as well. This just gives us a little more contrast between the background colour here and the sail. No real need for that, but it just helps and makes it look just that little bit better. So now I'm going to do that one in the same way. I'm just going to turn it round slightly because I know you've got it at a funny angle, but it's better for me because I've got to get this right. Now when you're doing producing masts of ships or boats, you have to have it straight. You can't have a wonky mast. So that's why I'm being a little careful here. I'm going to make that, in fact I'll do it now, I'm going to make that a white mast. And you may not see a great deal of difference between it, but once I finish it will show up more. There you go. That's great. And also along the top edge there. If you're wondering how I got that, well, that was tricky. First of all, I have to have a background to make it work. But what I did, I closed in on it so tightly that it just left a whisper. Can you see that? It's very difficult to put it in with a pencil, but anyway, that's how I did that. A little bit more white down there. That's lovely. So let's continue with the sail now. I've got the white, and now I can see the contrast, and you can see it too. And we want to, it's right at the bottom here, we've got another beam that runs across here. And what I'm going to do is put the white on in a minute, in there too, and I'll do it now. Just there. Now that line, the pencil line that I've got there, can stay there because I'm going to make it just a little darker than that in a minute or two. But what I was concerned with is having contrast against it. Now that's worked out really well. And what you want to do here is to make it more sail-like. You don't make it solid, you just, like I'm doing there, leaving it, and with a little light colour. And you can emphasise that by, I think we'll probably use the white pencil. Could use ivory on it too, that would work, but the white just gives it just that little bit more light. See how nice that looks? And with the white there, we've got it now. What am I going to put at the bottom of that? Well, we've restricted this particular landscape to just a few colours. So the colour I'm actually going to use is going to be a 181. Now you've got to be very careful with this, just a little bit of light. There you go, just a touch. Now, don't put too much strength in because it is quite a strong colour. Okay, now another thing we've got is a line across there. Now I'm going to use the 181, but I'm going to use it very, very lightly. You see that? Now it's a very dark colour going on, but the reason it works quite well there is simply because we've got a lot of colour I've already put in the water, and if you haven't done that, then you're not going to be able to do that. I'm just wondering whether I can just see whether this works. You can just, sometimes you can just emphasise, yes it does, a little bit extra strength there, and then follow that with, this was with the 181 and now with the ochre. Yeah, that works. Just gives a little bit of shadow, which I think works really well on that. No, I don't think there's any need to do it up here, simply because we've got a nice contrast between the background. But one area here needs just a little bit of attention. There we are. Now I'm really happy with that. That looks great to me. So let's concentrate on the boat. Now on the boat, I don't normally put a colour directly on to, or certainly like red, very dark colour, directly onto pastel paper, but red doesn't like having colours underneath it very much. So what I'm doing here is putting it directly on. I'm using 191 in the Faber range, which means it's a really nice soft colour. Now, the reason I'm not doing it straight there is because I'm going to put a little bit of a wave in where the boat is coming through the water. Now, just at the back here, we've got a little chappie. Well, it could be a little lady as well, I'm not sure. But anyway, we won't be able to discern that, but we need somebody in it steering the boat. Now, see how nice that's gone in. If for any reason it didn't, you can use a colour shaper just to put, or a paper blender, or a blender of some kind, just to push that colour in. Now that's gone on really well, but we're not going to leave it at that. What I'm going to do is bring back my 181, and I'm just going to put just a little bit of strength in it, particularly at the bottom where it meets, because we're going to put some white in, and I think let's make that just a little stronger. And the sail touching that, that's lovely. And a little bit of 181 behind. There we are. Now if I can get it in, I'm also going to put a little bit of white just on here. You need a sharp pencil to do this. And also some white here, suggesting a little bit of splash from the boat. Now I am doing some more dems on this particular landscape, so watch out for them. There'll be the sky, the church, trees, the buildings, and when I finish this I shall also be doing the bank here. So that's something to watch out for. Now what colour shall I do our little friend? Well, I think we'll start with blue. We haven't used blue, so I put a little bit of blue, and like that. You can't put any more detail than that. And then use the 181 to put a little bit of. Now you can make your own mind up as to what he's doing. Maybe just a little spot of light there as well. There we are. You can't do any more than that. Well, there's a lovely little boat. Let me just show you in perspective to the rest of it. Looking good, isn't it? So as I said, we're going to be doing more stems if you haven't already seen them. And the next one I shall be doing will be the bank. And that really does put the finishing touches to it, as you can see. So I look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now.